Hello everyone, welcome to the video. My name is Mr. J. I'm a classroom teacher from an Australian government school. I teach Year 5 students, which for those of you who come from different countries and don't know what Year 5 means, it's essentially 10-year-old students who turn 11 at different stages throughout the year. Today I'd like to talk about Microsoft Word, specifically looking at the track changes features and the adding comments features that allow us to see and get insight into the way students are editing, revising and evaluating their work. Alright, so let's jump in and see what this might look like inside a classroom. I have here a text that was written by one of the students in my class. It's a persuasive piece. And in this particular state, it looks fantastic. This is the finished product. This is the piece you'd hand in for marking. But it doesn't tell me all of the things that went on behind the scenes. And I know as an educator that part of my assessment involves all the editing and the revising, the evaluation that the students make on their piece in order for it to eventually look like this. To do that, to have actually look at how the students do that, I'm going to click up here on the Review tab. Now notice I've got track changes highlighted, and this is what I want to actually have a look at in this video. I really want to see how tracking changes can help a student show all of the editing, revising, evaluations that they make on a piece. With track changes selected, it means that any changes that I make to this piece of work is going to show up on my screen. Now at the moment I've got it selected to show no markup, so I can't see those edits, but if I select all markup now, I can see the edits and revisions that the student has made. Now I'm signed in under a different name on my computer at the moment. I'm not logged in under the student who wrote this, which means that if I was going to edit it at all, it will come up as a different color. It's actually also going to show me, as I go over the top, my name comes up so I can actually see who made the edits. This is a fantastic way for us to actually keep track of what the students are doing. Now, of course, I had it listed before as no markup, and that can actually be really helpful, especially if you're running a Word and you're getting students inside lower classes, grades 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., to actually track their changes and show their edits and revisions as well. But when I have a look at what it looks like when I'm changing things, it can actually be quite confusing sometimes, and students can even make more mistakes rather than less mistakes, or fix up mistakes because of what it looks like. So it's important to know that I can actually have track changes on, selected to no markup, and then when I make edits and revisions, and it looks to me on my screen like a normal finished product, and that way I'm not getting confused about what it's actually going to look like. It's important to note that when I select that or markup, it is actually still keeping track of all my changes, and that can be a really useful tool for teachers that are teaching lower grades. There's one more thing though I'd like to have a look at here, and that is this comment section over here. I can actually highlight sections of text and select a comment, and that's going to enable me to make a remark or refer to something, explain something that I have done. I've got that turned off at the moment. I can turn it back on here. I can see that there's a student here that has written something. It's actually me. I've actually gone back in and rechanged this. It is exactly what she wrote, but I have removed her name and added student just for privacy issues. Did that a few minutes ago. So I can see here that she actually highlighted this section of text and she'd flagged it as something that she needed to rephrase. And I can actually see here that she's actually made those changes inside the text. This comment section can be really, really handy. Not only is it show evidence that the student's thinking about specific things that they're putting into their text, but I can also just comment straight back onto them. So that I can give feedback. Perhaps I want to say, maybe try doing this strategy here. I can type in, whatever I want, and the student will see that as soon as they open up their file. And I can select to save that one, and that will come up on their file the next time I open it. So this is a really good way of having a look at things. There's one more thing that we can do with these comments. We can make this go just a little bit more sophisticated for us. I'm going to have a bit of a look now at a narrative piece. I'm just going to snap these screens to the left and the right hand side. This is how students operate inside the classroom. They'll have a plan. We use OneNote to do a lot of our work and a lot of our planning. It's very, very effective. All these checkboxes they can go through and they can actually select when they're covering things. Over here on the right hand side would be the story that they are creating. Now I can see there is a narrative and it's following. I can follow their plan to go through their plan and see that they have actually covered what was in their plan. They've planned very, very well. This student has followed their plan very, very well. I can see their beginning, their middle, and their end. Let's just close that one now, full screen this for a second. And then have a look at these comment sections because we can actually alter the way that we put the comments in. Now, with students that are signing in under their own accounts onto their laptops, they've got their own individual server space inside the school server. It will automatically pick up their specific name. It'll have their student name on it. And that's fantastic for one point, but we can actually play around with that a little bit more. I can actually click down here, specifically in the review panel, click on this little arrow down here. It's going to bring up this option to change the user's name. Now mine currently says Mr. J, initials of Mr. J, and that's fine. But I can change that to say just about anything. Why is that a good thing? Well, it means, if I go up here and show this markup, that students can actually show very specific areas of thinking to describe why they've done things and what it means. I can specifically note all of the different areas of thinking that I have made. I can see here that's automatically every time the student goes in and changes their username, the program will automatically change the color. So I can actually see color coding. So all these gray ones here are all the students' use of metaphors and similes. And I can see exactly why they've used them and what they want them to mean to the reader. So I can see very, very important use of thinking. And that's really, really handy. I can, of course, still click on these kinds of things and add comments into what I think, if needed. It's important to note that on older versions of Word, to actually change the username is actually in the bottom section of the Track Changes tool. There'll be another option down here which will actually say Change Username, and that's what you click on to get the same idea. So that is what we do inside grade 5 at my school. I can see all the different areas of thinking that the students made. I can see all their track changes, and that gives me great insight into the minds of my students, and I can see why they are doing certain things. I definitely recommend it. Give it a try in your own classrooms. I hope you've enjoyed this video.